going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This video we're looking at the Wednesday, another 5-game Korean baseball slate. Most are going to be 5 games as there are 10 teams total. Hopefully opening day went well for you guys. It was a long night, and tonight's going to be even longer as it is a 5:30 a.m. Eastern time tip, our first pitch. So probably going to have to set our alarms and wake up to make sure our players are starting. But hopefully you guys had a good night, and let's get started. Appreciate all the support you guys showed on yesterday's video with all the likes. Appreciate that. Try to get over 100 likes again. That would be nice. So today, based on the pitchers that Draftkings had listed, I went over and compared their stats from last season so we can see which guys we want to target and which guys we want to target hitters against. So based on the ERA, Tyler Wilson was the leader out of this group, 2.92 ERA. Good strikeout stuff too. He also led in quality starts. The 3 worst were from the Eagles, Tigers, and Giants. All had over 5.4 ERAs. None of them, except for Jang, was good at strikeouts, and 2 out of the 3 of them gave up a ton of home runs. As you see, I like how you can see how many home runs they give up, how many strikeouts they get, and the innings pitched. So we can kind of compare it based on per 9 ratio like we're used to in the major leagues. So that's the kind of breakdown for the pitchers. Based on that and studying this for a bit, I want to be targeting hitters against these 3 pitchers, and I kind of like Tyler Wilson. I like him. I like Eric Jalkish, and I like Yahak Lee as the 3 guys I'm most interested in. And the pricing on DraftKings, you have Lee at 9,500. Jalkish is 8,500, and then Tyler Wilson is down here at 6,600. It's a matchup that's kind of tough against DOO, but we saw it's baseball. You know, pitching does more often than not. Good pitching can beat good hitting, and we saw that last night as DOO struggled to make solid contact. But tonight, I am looking at like those. I like Jokic's price at 8,500, and Tyler Wilson. I think that gives me all the ability to spend up for some bats, and DraftKings did raise the pricing of the hitters as we have multiple guys over 5,500, one guy at 6,000. So it's going to be a spot where if I can get some savings at pitcher, I will be gladly take that. And then for my stacks that I mentioned, I will be looking to stack SK for sure against Jang, who had over one of the 5 ERA guys. So basically just going to try to stack against these 3. And then another guy that gave up a ton of home runs was William Cuevas. So I also think that you can go with a couple of Lodi Giants there. But SK stack looks great. The Wizards Wiz stack looks pretty good as well. And then you have KIW stack. Looks good. And then the Dinos too. Lively, we don't have much information on him. He only made 4 starts. Already had 8 or 9 starts. He was decent, but obviously the sample size is much smaller than everybody else from last season. But he was a member of the Phillies organization. Was okay, nothing special. So I think you can go with the Dinos just because they have some really good hitters like Altair, who almost had 2 home runs yesterday. And they also have the catcher that is the best in the league. So they also look like a pretty good stack. And then, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm kind of looking at and focused on. Starting off here at first base, I really do like Park here, 4,800. He started off getting 3 hits last night. As you see, he was in the big league organization for a bit with the Twins, at least. And then if we look at his stats from last season, he is a pretty good hitter. If I can pull it up by clicking on his team here, and now we can see his stats from 2019 if you guys are interested there. Had a cleanup yesterday. He has some massive amounts of power. Had a couple of 50-plus home run seasons back in 2014, 2015. Last year hit 33, 2018 hit 43. So plenty of power for him. Also can hit for a high average. So definitely like him a lot, especially with the matchup is so nice. So I am liking the KIW stack quite a bit. I also think that the SK stack looks great. And then we have Jeong Choi as another expensive guy that I feel pretty fine about paying up for at third base. He got off to a pretty slow start. It's only, opening day. He should have plenty of opportunities to turn it around. I also think that they look great as a stack facing a pitcher that once again had struggled last season, and this hitter is probably one of the best on the team. So look at his stats from last season. He had a 292 average, but also tons of power. I'm kind of looking for guys with power because this is a league that there's not a lot of home runs hit. So anytime you have a guy that with big time pop and they're expensive, but they're facing a bad pitcher. So a good chance that he can at least have a decent game. And we do have the savings at pitching to make it worth it to pay down. So that's another reason why I think I will be definitely trying to get a couple of expensive bats in there. At shortstop, at $4,000, I like Kim from KIW again. He had a home run last night, which is nice, but he's 4,000. He bats right at the top of the order, which is nice, and he also is not overly expensive, and he does have some nice power as well. So look at his stats and where he hit in the lineup last night. Expect him to once again remain in that spot after he had a nice showing. Bat in the 2-hole last year, about almost 20 home runs, hits for high average. Definitely has some stolen base upside, 33 stolen bases too, so plenty of upside. We know how important stolen bases are on Draftkings. And then last but not least, I'm probably going to go with Sungbum Na again from the Dinos against Lively. Lively also gave up some home run issues last season in his limited time. In 9 games, he gave about 4 home runs, which is a decent amount for this league. And Sungbum Na is just too cheap, 3,300 for him. Had a great game. As I mentioned yesterday, I showed his stats. He was one of the best hitters, and then he missed a lot of time last year due to injury, but he still is a tremendous hitter, and he kind of picked up right where he left off. Very, very cheap at 3,300. I also feel like he's a tremendous option. And then over on Fanduel for baseball, see where it's completely different. It's kind of tough because you're only having 7 players on Fanduel compared to DraftKings. The pricing and the positions are completely different. Basically like a Yahoo structure for Fanduel with the dollars amounts. But at pitcher, I am probably going to focus on the 2 that I mentioned, and they are pretty cheap. You have KIW is $24, and then the Wilson guy is $22. So I think he can, if he has a good game. I don't think it'll be too popular. He had the best stats from last year, good strikeout stuff too. So I feel good about that. And then another guy that's going to be kind of an auto play on FanDuel until his price tag goes up is Sungbum Na. Is only $7. Is just way too cheap for the amount of power and upside he has. The Dinos are very cheap on FanDuel. They make for a good stack. At infielder, I like John Choi, $16. Also from SK, plenty of power with him. With hitting right in the heart of the lineup, I like to stack from them as well. And then another guy that looks pretty good is probably Park in the outfield. Or in the utility you can play him, but he's $14. $14 infielder, man. From KIW. He also good power with him. Not too bad of a price on FanDuel either. And then last but not least, I will give you guys if I get Park back in there. And then last but not least, in the outfield spot, we have probably Rojas, also a good spot for the Wizards. $16, a little bit expensive, but you get a guy, if you go cheap at pitcher, you go cheap with Na, you can definitely feel Rojas in there. And they're also in a great spot against Lodi Giants, against a pitcher that was very bad last season with some issues at limiting runs. So that is a breakdown for tomorrow morning's Korean baseball slate. Hopefully, guys, enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to hit the like button before you head out. Thanks for watching, and good luck.